You're tuned in to the Vintage House Show, home to the original stories of the history of house music as told by the legends, pioneers, and icons. Hosted by Kevin Mega McFall, Lori Branch, and Lauren Lowery.
Tell me your full name. What name did your parents give you?
David L. Collins.
And when were you born? When's your birthday?
July 9th.
So you're Cancer. Where were you born? Do you remember?
It's Cook County Hospital.
Oh, you were born in Cook County? Interesting. 1967?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Where'd you grow up? When you were in grammar school, where did you live? What address?
Grammar school was right there, 93rd and State, right by the expressway.
Okay.
Gillespie.
Oh, yeah. Did you go to Gillespie?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. My best friend's sister is now the principal of Gillespie.
Really?
Her name was Michelle Willis.
Small world.
Michelle Willis. And so in Gillespie, so a lot of, sort of young people who are now DJs and sort of gold music superstars, people like Farley, they were in grammar school and they had a heavy interest in music. In Gillespie, were you involved with music at all?
Not really. But what I will say is that my parents were the only people in my community that had a basement. So my house was when somebody got married, when somebody got divorced, when somebody had a baby, whatever it would be in my parents' basement. So then that meant if you had a birthday or if he had a birthday, whoever had a birthday, it was my job to go to Metro Music on 103rd
Gotcha.
in Calumet
Yes.
and go pick up 45s.
Interesting.
So I would get to 45. If I had a party, I would invite like 10 girls and 5 guys, because somebody's mama not gonna let them come. And whoever girl didn't come, you had to be the DJ at a certain point. Because you wasn't mixing, you had to take the record off.
You gotta put it back on, right?
So that's how it got started.
Interesting.
In grade school. Then when I went to Lindblom, I'm standing in the middle of the dance floor like, they playing music and it's not stopping. I was like, how do they do that?
I know.
And so nobody understood what I was talking about. So when my father picked us up and took us home, my mother said, so what did he say about the parties? He said, it's funny. All his friends was talking about girls. He was talking about the music not stopping.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they just looked at me like, huh? I just had to figure out how to do that. So that's what I did.
I'm going to go back to Metro Music. What kind of music were you picking up? What kind of were you picking up?
The Gap Band, Slave, Shaka Khan.
Gotcha.
What they consider old school now.
Right.
That was popular back then.
Exactly. So a lot of R&B, a lot of funk.
Yep.
Kind of.
Because that's all it was then.
Right.
Hip hop hadn't arrived yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So this was 1980, 79, something like that?
79, 80.
79, 80. Do you have brothers and sisters, David?
I got a sister.
How old is she?
44.
So did she grow up with you? Is she younger than you?
Yeah, she's younger
much
than me.
younger. So sometimes you wonder how sometimes your other peers, your neighbors, how they affect sort of the music that you also listen to.
Oh, yeah, sure.
What were at the time when you were, this is before Lindblom, do you remember any of your neighbors or friends from back in that day? Did they have music preferences? Were you all into music at all? Or was it just sort of a cursory interest in music?
They were, but they were really followed me. And nobody was really serious about it like I was. You know what I mean? Nobody really was into the intricacies of a song and how it modulates and progressed and all that. I was the only one into that.
So in 1981, you start at Lindblom. And so tell me again sort of what you remember first, sort of your music influences when you got to Lindblom. Was there parties? What was happening?
Was the sock hops that we used to have. And then we had homecoming. That first big dance. And we was just standing there. I was just standing there mesmerized like, how was he doing? I think...
Who was DJing?
I want to say, I don't know, whoever we got to DJ our sock house back in the day. I mean, prom. It was somebody popular, but I can't remember who it was.
Because
so
that's
I was
important
standing there
stuff,
like, wow, I got to learn how to do that.
Right. And so how did you learn how to do that?
Somebody in the neighborhood, because I grew up around 92nd, Indiana, said, yo, this guy named Nick said, if you want to learn, you can go over his house. And that Nick is Nick nonstop.
Right, gotcha.
So when we were around each other, people be like, "He taught you?" Yes, he. I used his equipment. I went to his house every day, Monday through Friday, for 3.5 years.
Wow.
Before I did, I went over there so much. When he was not there, his mother would be like, "He not here, gone."
Exactly.
Because she understood I
serious
had to
it
have that. You know what I'm saying? I had to get good at that.
So what's Nick's full name?
Irving Nicholson.
Irving Nicholson. And where exactly did he live? Do you remember?
95th and Prairie.
Do you remember the exact address?
Nah.
Do you remember your exact addresses?
My ancestral address was 9247, Indiana.
Gotcha. Okay, so Nick Nonstop, who's pretty hot in Chicago. Is he global? I don't know much about sort of
If
his
somebody
global-
play that song, Jack My Body, they know who he is.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So he's a house music staple, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely it. Okay, so I've only heard much more about him sort of in my last 20 years. So when I was at Northwestern from 1985 to 1989, I did a radio show. I did a house music show. And we brought in Frankie and those people. I didn't bring them on to spin. I bring them on to speak, to talk, which is what I do now. We sort of revisit it as adults and as, as now sort of pioneers, we interview them. But I don't remember Nick Nonstop back in that
Well,
day.
Nick, he left and went to Northern.
Gotcha. of
And
course,
so, the same way I left and went to Lewis University. And then I think he was, he got married and was doing the family thing and he had kids and all that.
Gotcha.
And then, like you said, within this last 10 years, his name just blew up. He was already there. He just didn't, I don't think he just really pushed it.
Gotcha.
Until when it's hard to explain. When you got that bug, you have to spin.
It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't
No,
go
it's
anywhere.
not.
You just
I'll
want to
be
do it.
spinning
That's what I hear.
As long as I can hear.
Gotcha.
I'll be
Like
spinning
you're gonna spin.
some way.
Okay, so still, I'm going back to Lindblom. So you are now every day going over to someone's house and sort of learning how to use equipment. What kind of equipment did he have? What did he have? in the house?
Just turntable and a mixer.
Was there a particular brand, or do you know what he had?
I think the turntables then were Techniques. I think, and I don't remember the mixer.
Gotcha. So
I
I'm
keep
gonna
up with that.
have to find Nick Nonstop. What?
Can I interject?
Yes. Go ahead.
I just want to ask him a question.
Sure, you can ask whatever you want.
Now, tell me something. You spent, I know what the answer is for me. You tell me what the most influential turntable is.
Techniques.
Which one?
1200.
Absolutely. My man.
I go without saying.
My man.
1200.
My man. Nah, that's all I
He's
want.
like, now he official. Now he good. Yeah,
That's it.
Because
That's
that's all it was back in the
Yeah,
day.
because you tell people now,
It's all this and that and
I
the
like
belt
it.
drive and all the other stuff. Technique 1200.
to me, and it was ahead of its time, and you could play a 12-inch on it right now, and it would still be that was a solid product. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I'll take that even further. When I learned how to spin, I didn't have any equipment. When I went to college, I didn't have any equipment. I worked with a guy who bought a club that shut down, and he sold me those turntables in like 1987, 88. I still have them,
Oh, that's
and they still
awesome.
work.
And probably
That's
sound
serious.
great because that's a quality product.
Oh yeah, yeah.
To me, I think it's underrated because people don't talk about it, but it revolutionized hip hop, house music, all of that. The Technique 1200.
I know. And now vinyl's vinyl's back now, so
Yeah.
people.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I got excited.
No, you can have this, whatever you might have. You
No,
have a
I got
question, you can
excited.
always ask questions. Okay, so Lindblom. So every day you're
6
going-
to 10, 6 p.m. to 10.
6 p.m. to 10.
Yep.
So during school, so freshman year, you hear this music, you're like, how's it not stopping? Were you involved in the music scene at all as a student at Lindblom?
No.
So nothing there, because I don't remember.
I would be in the
much of it.
lunchroom talking shit about how I could spin,
Okay.
and nobody believed me.
Gotcha.
And when I knew I had something, is I would make a cassette, I would bring it to class, and in the lunchroom we would play it, and everybody thought it was somebody on the radio, and it was me. And so that's when I was like, I got something.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Who influenced you? Were there people on the radio? Did you meet some of the DJs, or were you spinning house, or were you?
I was in a house back in Chicago.
back in Chicago?
So
So
it's funny. People always ask me who is like my hero, who I looked up to. It was Steve Early.
Steve Earle, gotcha.
It was Steve Silk Hurley. When I graduated from Lewis and came back home, when my crew knew Steve was spinning, we did.
Right.
And somehow, I don't know how, me and Steve got cool. So now Steve's spinning, and I'm on stage standing right next to him. And I was like, my friend's like, how do you? I don't know. I'm here.
I get to be here, and I'm not leaving. Right.
And it's always been Steve. At the time, Farley was cool, but he wasn't. Steve was just cool. He was a cool cat.
True.
And Farley probably was, but at that time he wasn't. And it wasn't just me; it was everybody.
It was Hot Mix 5, and he had a head probably.
And if you talk, when I talked to Farley now, he was saying he apologized because he said at the time I was so busy trying to be number one,
Right.
I didn't care about nothing else. He said, "Man, I had a Camaro with my name on the side and didn't have enough money to put gas in." You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
but since then we've been cool. But
Gotcha.
it was always Steve. It was always Steve. And I can't turn around.
Right.
Whew.
And so on the radio, what did you listen to? Did you listen to the radio? Did you listen to Hot Mix 5 every Friday, Saturday?
I listened
what did
to
you
him.
listen to?
Let me tell you how good my memory is. We were in the car, me and my mom, my sister, I think somebody else, and my dad, and they played this song called "Jamie Wants to Ride."
Sure.
Right. So towards the end, Jamie says, "I want to F word you," and I'm listening to the radio like, "Yo, I know you." And right when it got to that point, Farley mixed Fantasy Girl. So it said, "I want to fantasy." I was sitting there kind of like, how he do that? Oh my God.
That's so funny.
And that's crazy. That was like 1985, something like that. So that's, coming to Kirk and DJ, that's how good my memory is.
That is interesting. Were your parents, were they exceptionally into music or not? Are they
They
surprised?
were, but not like I was.
Gotcha.
I mean, again, they had the parties. So my mother used to be, put that James Brown on. All right, put the James Brown on. Put that Marvin Gaye on. All right, put the Marvin Gaye on. And
So
my
they
father,
made you be the DJ, so that's good.
for my parties. Their parties, before I was 16, I had to go to bed, attempt to go to bed, go upstairs.
Right.
Because you ain't going to sleep. And I would ease downstairs, be in the corner chilling. Don't nobody. And it's like the part, it's just everybody dance on. Boy, can you? I see.
They saw me.
Yeah. So she had. I mean, they had all their little shingdings and they get-togethers and whatnot. Yeah.
Gotcha. So I always like to see those influences. Sometimes you don't realize really how important your parents just having you involved in that kind of scene, is important. So while you were at Lindblom, did you recognize the kinds of things that Dwayne Woods was doing? Do you remember Dwayne Woods, though?
Yeah, we didn't get along.
So regardless of that, Dwayne was making like a grown man's salary
Yeah, for doing sound.
for doing sound. And, he took me to, I can't remember if it was like R2 Underground or like if it was Music Box or something at the time. But Lisa Boseman had a party in her basement. And he had the music or did the sound or something there too. But he was like, hey, I got to go check on my speakers. Do you want to go with me? And it was just one of those rare times. I went to no parties. My mom was out of town. That's how I got to go to Lisa Boseman's party. And she lives 3 blocks away from me. So that's the only reason why I got to go. Dwayne says, I got to go check on my things. Do you want to go with me? Okay, I'm so stupid, me and Dwayne. And we get to one place, I remember we go down some stairs, so it might have been R2 Underground, Michigan, like you go under lower Michigan. And I saw a bunch of men dancing together, didn't bother me. He said, stand here, don't move. So I'm like standing on top of like a speaker, sort of looking down on the crowd. I'm by myself, 15, 16, I'm kicking and partying by myself, whatever. It takes him at least 45 minutes, an hour to do what he has to do. I remember thinking, God, it's taking a long time. I don't know where I am. This would be terrible if I was left here, you know what I mean? But left. And then, he comes out with this cash. And I was like, what the hell is he doing? Like, how does he have this cash? We just count, let me just count this. We get in the car. And it hit me just like that right then. I became a more mature house music person. It was more than music to me at that time. Because I was like, he's making a lot of money, you know what I mean? Like, he's only a senior in high school. Like, he's like a grown-up, you know what I mean? And I realized he had his own car. He went from the south side to downtown Chicago, back. And he checked on one other place, too. Came out with some more cash. And I was like, wow, he's really serious. Did you recognize that Lindblom had a group of people that were doing that kind of thing?
No.
So was it? Yeah, I didn't realize it.
Because at the time, I'm still learning. But I'm not trying to tell people what I'm doing.
Right.
I just want to my first part, I just want to hit him with, this is me.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I didn't really talk to too many people about that at that time.
What parties did you go to as a
Well, I'm coming from the skating background.
Thank you.
So I went roller skating every Saturday until my junior year when I finally went to Mendel, a Mendel party.
So you didn't go to Mendel till junior year?
Because I'm roller skating.
Yeah, you're roller
I don't
skating
even
on
know
Saturdays, right?
that Mendel was going on. Longwood, Academy of Our Lady. I didn't realize that until my senior year because I'm roller skating.
So where are you roller skating?
When I first started roller skating, give you history. I skated at Roll Arena across from Metro Music on 103rd and Calumet, which I think is a Family Dollar now.
I don't remember that at all. Roll Arena, I only went to Markham. I
went to Roll Arena, I went to the Loop, and my cousin's gangbanging went to Savoy.
Okay.
So
okay, the Loop. Where was the Loop? Do you remember?
The Loop is it's a church over there now. So the Loop is on 95th and wherever those train tracks are, just past Princeton Park.
Oh, so is the Loop where Trinity is now?
Yeah, that was the Loop.
Shut up. No way.
She said, "Shut up."
I did not recognize that.
Yep.
So many places we've lost. And by the way, you should Google at some point the Chicago Black Social Culture Map. I'm also part of a group that we got an NEH grant to document all of the black social spaces between 1900 till today. So all those blues clubs, all those jazz clubs that have now disappeared, whole Jazz Row was on State Street, all killed. All the blues clubs on 43rd, 47th, all gone. We are documenting.
Because my father used to tell me he was come see Red Fox on 43rd, at whatever spot it was.
Ooh,
He's like, yeah, you know, back in the day, my father was a man that didn't talk much, but occasionally, like, you know, back in the day, I used to see Red Fox.
Is your father still alive?
No.
Oh,
He passed.
sorry.
My father passed away in '97. My mother passed away in 2000.
I'm so sorry.
I appreciate that.
I don't have any of my parents either, but that's very early in the ball game. I'm sorry, because that's the kind of information we need. So we're doing this. We've documented all these things, and we try to talk to people, the oldest living people we can know who are there, who can tell us what was the scene like in the Loop, what was the music going on, what was the colors, how do you have any pictures?
Jazz, and then comedy.
Jazz comedy. Do you have any of his archives, any of his papers, anything that from your father?
Nah, he didn't really keep that generation didn't keep up with that. I got one picture that I post on social media for when his birthday comes, and I got one picture from my mom. My mother would kill you to take a picture. And she would, who told you to take that picture? Mom, it's a picture, relax. Neither one of them take pictures.
That's so true. I don't have a gang of pictures of my parents. Certainly as young people, we found this book just recently that they did for some kind of homecoming for Crenshaw County in Alabama. And they've got the whole 8th grade or something there. And there's my mom, same face with some pigtails. I was like, oh my God, it's amazing. All right, well, okay, so back to skating. So you were Roll Arena, the Loop, and Savoy. Where was Savoy?
I want to say where Moo and Oinka is now, on like 82nd and Cottage. It might have been 75th. It might have been further north. But it was between 82nd and 75th on Cottage.
Cottage, not Stony?
Cottage Grove.
So 82nd and 75th. And okay, so now I'm going to have to make sure we
Look
have
it
that
up,
somewhere.
yeah.
So Savoy, that was a roller rink. So who's spinning the roller rink? Who was playing the music?
We didn't even think about it. I don't have no idea.
Just somebody.
It was just, I wasn't thinking about DJing then because I was like 12, 13. I just knew, again, that the first time I went skating, the person my mother assigned some girl, skate guard, and she told, when my mother got back, she said, how do you do? She said, come here. And my mother said, when I came over there, thinking you were skating like you had been skating your whole life.
Right.
Like you were meant to skate.
Interesting.
Because it wasn't no learning, it wasn't no, I just started skating.
Yeah, exactly. You just skate, you get on the skates and go.
Yeah.
The thing that kills me about Markham is that there was a bus that would pick us up from like the school that I went to, and we just got on the bus and it took us to Markham and then brought us back. It was like, did anyone know whose bus that was? We were just getting on somebody's bus.
Back then,
today it would be a whole team of people.
Yes.
We have the police
Making
out there.
sure that you say who you are, you say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We just got on some random bus
We
and your
just
parents just let
bounced.
you get on it. I'm like, our parents were terrible. In fact, in hindsight, they could have ran us off the road. We didn't know what we were doing. Exactly. They'll make it back. Okay, so you're skating every Saturday. at these different places. Any other place, Roll Arena, Loop Savoy, do you remember any other place you went to the
Nah,
time?
not as a teenager. Nah,
Did you not go to Markham at all?
never went. I went to Markham one time 5 years ago.
Shut up.
First time I had went.
Interesting.
Because you're trying to go close to home.
You had to go close
You know what I'm
to
saying?
Markham.
Because your mother gonna take you, but look, boy, I ain't finna driving all around
Right, that's
around the world for your ass.
Right,
You better get up here at this skating rink. So
That's true. Okay, so you're skating. So you got introduced to Mendel when?
senior year,
Do you remember who told you about it? Or you just happened to know?
Nick and James Anderson, Diego,
Who's James Anderson?
he went to Northern.
Oh, just someone. So, did he go to Lindblom? What school did
He went to Mendel.
Oh, James Anderson went to Mendel.
Yeah, they both went to Mendel.
Where did Nick go?
Mendel.
Oh, Nick went to Mendel too? And they just told you about it and they were your friends?
Back then, well, I didn't care. I know all boys. Get out of here.
Right, that's true.
Not in high school.
Mendel was so serious. That was the only place my mom would, it was like a Catholic boys' school. Parents would
Mendel
let
was
you
so
go.
serious when I went to Lewis University, and then science and human genetics, the professor kept saying it's a shame what they did to that school. It's a shame. So one day I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "They changed the name of Gregor Mendel." I said, "They did what? And why are you talking about it? How do you know?" He's like, "You don't know who Gregor Mendel is?" I stopped him. He don't know me. When you're young, you stupid.
Right.
I don't know who that is. So it was serious.
That
And
is
the Academy of Our Lady was too, because they had parties too.
I never went to a Longwood party,
It
but
was,
I had
it wasn't Mendel,
Longwood.
but it was cool.
It was good too?
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
Gotcha. So what do you remember about going into Mendel? What do you remember at all, if anything?
Just how, what's the word? How, I don't want to say together, but how they had their stuff together, even back then.
Mm-hmm.
You come in here, we got our security. This is where you pay if you had to pay. Whatever. You dance, wild out, then you get your ass home.
Exactly.
It wasn't no foolishness or nothing. Now, occasionally there were fights after, outside, but while you on that property, you gonna handle your business.
So were you a big dancer? Were you just looking around? Or you just dance with people? You dancing by yourself? How were you? What was the flow like for you?
You dance, but I was known as a street dancer back then.
Were you?
So I would
I'm
go.
learning so much.
I would go
now you're a street
to
dancer?
different clubs. Once when I got out of high school,
Okay.
but I would go to different spots and dance against that was supposedly their best dancer.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Because the dance crews were serious business
Yeah.
probably by the time we were seniors.
It was serious.
Northside, it was very serious, but then back
Matter
in the
of
day, the
fact.
doctors, you remember the doctors, there was a bunch of those people a little older than us that had those dance crews.
Matter of fact, we would go to Mendel and step against AKAs and Deltas and
Oh,
stuff.
God, were you there? Shut up. That is so funny.
We just do our little stuff. It wasn't nothing, but
Did you have a street dancer name?
did I have what?
Did your crew have a name?
They was called ESQ. We was called ESQ. It wasn't nothing spectacular.
Yes. Do you happen to have any documentation, flyers, anything that might have had any of these things on there?
I have to look and see.
If you can check, that would be really important. Okay, so I'm not going to get to college yet, but I'm still staying senior year Mendel. Senior year Mendel, you go in there. You're already going in there as a street dancer the first time you're at Mendel, or you just sort of kicking
It's
it?
kind of
dancing?
developed into it because when you start seeing people dance, you like, Psh, I can do that.
Exactly. I can spin 20 times
Like,
and
I
then
can do that.
get back
And
up.
so, of course, you dancing with a girl, somebody yelling at you, and the right song come on at the right time, and then you get loose. Now everybody backing up like,
Right.
whoa, this dude. So then the next time I start coming out to bring my boys, I was like, I got a crew now. We can, and that's who that was. How we stepped against AK.
Oh my God. Who was in ESQ with you? Do you remember?
It was my best friend Patrick Poe and my cousin Bernal Kindred that we call Dude, D-U-D.
Bernal Kendrick? D-U-D?
We called him Dude, but his name was Bernal Kindred.
Where did was it Patrick Poe?
Yeah,
Where did he go to high school?
He went to Simeon, then he went to Mount Carmel.
Did he go to Mount Carmel?
Mm-hmm.
He's black, right?
Yeah, he
Okay, Bernal Kendrick. Where
Went
did he
to
go to high
Lindblom.
school? Oh, Bernal went to Lindblom. What
class of
year?
86 and a half. He went to summer school.
Gotcha.
Dummy.
Don't play. We all could have been there. One foul. I ain't making it to this class this month. You could be right there.
Yeah, he graduated from Lindblom in '86.
Interesting. Did he come to Nest Fest?
Nah,
Where's he live now?
Virginia.
Gotcha.
I talked to him last night. I was asking him about going back home. He was like, "For what?" He don't go back like I do.
Yeah, some people
But he
do.
left right out of. When he graduated, he went to the military, and he's been in the military. So he don't really have. He have people, but he don't have. I was there till I was 30.
Right, exactly.
So I had time to, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so Mendel, basically, you're kicking it at Mendel. Where are you going in? You were going to Longwood. Do you
I
remember?
went to Longwood, not as much as Mendel, but I would go to Longwood.
What other? Did you go to any clubs as a young person? Were you allowed to make it to like
Hummingbird.
So to Hummingbird, guys.
But that might have been in high school.
Right. Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you know how people back in the day, we were young and they were still trying to find themselves at the warehouse, sneaking into the warehouse, sneaking into the power plant, sneaking into the loft. Some of those house music clubs. Did you do any of that?
Nah.
Yeah, I couldn't do any of that either. I don't know how these people were getting out of the house till 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, sneaking
How
in.
they getting where they going?
They were taking the bus at the train.
Nah,
I'm
nah,
like,
nah,
that's
nah.
just outrageous.
I
but
would
that's
take the
what they
bus
were
a
doing.
lot of places, but I'm not going to take a bus to a club at night on the
Exactly.
weekend.
That just is, I don't know how people did it, but so many people were doing it. Okay, so you're just basically doing what a lot of high schoolers are doing is going to Mendel parties. And then, if you don't know this, sort of Mendel was incubating a lot of these great, Wayne Williams, Jesse, Kirk Townsend, who headed the Mendel parties. He was hiring those guys to do that. And then he had his own sound equipment at some point. He created a whole business around doing this thing. He made millions of dollars for Mendel High School. That's how they stayed open all that time, and with declining enrollment. We had thousands of kids in there paying $5, whatever a pop. Made that school millions of dollars. They just honored him recently. So Mendel was the place where you're going, maybe the Hummingbird. So this is what Karen told me. Karen told me that Elite and some of these other people were having parties. Did you go to any of those? I didn't go to them. Where were you
Matter
going
of
to?
fact, I got to look through my Facebook page. Somebody's emailed me a flyer to that JF was having whatever it was with music by DJ Cowboy.
You have to send
I
that
have
to
to
me.
find it.
Please
I have
send
to
that
find
to
it.
me. If it's on, you're not my Facebook friend clearly, but we're gonna have to look for each
Yeah.
other. I don't normally have my real name in Facebook, but it is right now. So there's a JF party. So I want to know where that was.
It was at the
like-
Hummingbird?
Oh, was that Hummingbird? Oh, interesting. So clearly, again, as I told you, my mom was not letting me go anywhere, so I was not going anywhere. And she only left town, I think, because my grandfather or someone was sick. You know what I mean? Like, she was a stay-at-home mom when I was. Thanks for listening to the Vintage House Show podcast. Please subscribe and share, and check us out live, WNUR 89.3 FM, Wednesdays at 10 o'clock.